you really want this planet to be an amazing place, 5,000 years from now, not one generation. I'm talking about many, many generations. You have to start with children. You have to make sure every child can figure out how to reach their full potential. What you experience, is school, 1,000 hours a year, but the other 4,000 hours that child is awake, the parent has to fill that child's time with amazing resources. Really what drove me to start Peachjar was really actually some personal experiences when I was a child. And one of the things, which I won't get into, but one of the things though that I realized is that what makes people great in this world are the social emotional skills.
My name is Rick Joliker, and I am a District Success Manager with Peachjar.
Hi, I'm Tabassum Bagani, and I am the National Sales Director here at Peachjar.
Hi, I'm Chris Beal. I'm the Director of Business Development here at Peachjar.
I am Jackie Stone, Senior Director of Customer and District Success.
Can you believe 10 years? Oh, jeez. It's been quite a ride. I mean, from starting off in the tool shed behind my house, right, and getting the first two schools. Two schools in Poway Unified actually, they did a beta test, and we started in August of 2012, and we were literally scanning flyers, paper flyers, and uploading them for them. That's how they were electronic initially. So the organizations didn't actually upload the flyers. We were actually manually doing that. So everybody wants to know, for some reason, where the
What could that be?
where the name Peachjar came from. And so here's where it came from. Number one, I wanted a name that was parent friendly. Something that was, not, didn't really say necessarily what we did, because we know this company's going to continue to evolve. I mean, we could have called it Flyers Are Us, and then that's all we ever would have done. That is not all we're ever going to do. That is for sure. So, number one, parent friendly. Number two, it doesn't say specifically what you do. And then if you want to think about actually peaches. So peaches, they kind of all ripen on the tree at once. They all fall off at once. So you have no peaches, and then you have 300 peaches, right? So we can them in the old days, and you can them to preserve them. And that's the jar that you see the peaches in. And why do you want to can and jar peaches? Because they're delicious, they're good. You want to eat them year-round in the winter, etc. So you're preserving the future for that peach, right? Now, if you think of like symbolically, the peach is the child, right? The child is very precious, and we want to have a better future for that child. So that's kind of the meaning behind Peachjar. First couple of years, there was no salary. So I was working off of savings.
That would be personally challenging.
It was very personally challenging. And then, the first year we probably made very little. We actually made very little money. The second, and we were focused on getting districts to adopt our platform. We were not focused as much on getting orgs to pay for it. We were more focused on districts adopting it. And we got a lot of growth. One of the funniest stories actually that I remember is somebody said, well, do you have a business yet? And I said, well, what defines a business? And they said, well, if you can get one person to give you $1, you have an idea that might work. And so at this point, it was all free. There was no
That's
revenue.
Easy.
Yeah. And so we ran a plan for $1 if you upload a flyer, give us $1, right? And that's what, and Mad Science did that actually. Where you're
Yeah.
from, Tabassum.
It was great. I remember when you first came in, actually, and they asked us, they said, well, we have this gentleman coming in, and he's going to take over the conference room and tell you all about this new opportunity that's out there, And at that point, Mad Science was doing, we were in probably about 220 schools, and we were a paper factory, right? So we had 2 photocopying machines, and labor and paper intensive, and like hiring part-timers, and then it would break down and trying to get the word out. So I remember when Mike came in, it was like, wow, like what is this concept of digital, right? I mean, we'd only been digital, for less than a decade, I think, even just with internet and everything anyway. So it was fantastic when he came in, and we were super excited. I remember personally being very excited because it was all about the opportunity to have a bigger impact.
Well, from the early days in the tool shed, the little room that is now a small office behind my house, we actually moved to Mad Science, where we got into a conference room that was about 8 foot by 12 foot. And Mad Science itself was bigger than that, but they had their own business outside of that. So in the conference room, we all worked on Peachjar, and literally 8 foot by 12 foot, one socket, I think, maybe two, with 8 laptops plugged into 2, power outlets. And we're blowing circuit breakers. Wi-Fi was maybe sometimes working. It's been quite a ride. I mean, there's been times, especially like during COVID. I mean, COVID shut down schools and it shut down after-school programs, which is our lifeblood. And so COVID should have killed us. And the fact that we thrived after COVID, during COVID, we survived. After COVID, we thrived. Before COVID, we're doing great. But COVID was definitely a potential business killer. And I know it did kill a lot of businesses around the world.
Felt like as a company too, we pulled together. We, obviously it was a terrible situation, but we kind of all banded together and all pulled on the same direction. And so to see us come out of that and be successful, it's really a testament
Actually,
to
you keyed in on
Peachjar and the people. So.
Yeah, you keyed in on a really important point, which is the people of Peachjar, the employees at Peachjar, we banded together like a family.
Yep.
And we wore multiple hats. We worked long hours.
Definitely.
And that was the secret ingredient to survival was us banding together and being able to.
Everybody just backed up for everybody. Yeah. Anyone did what anyone else couldn't do. We just jumped in and helped each other out. Yep. It was one of the greatest experiences of teamwork I think I've ever been through in my whole career, probably.
Wow. Fast forward to today, I think we're about 20% of parents in the U.S. actually access Peachjar. And that's a huge number. We are super proud to be here 10 years later.
So proud.
And we're thriving, we're growing, and it's awesome.
One thing that excites me too is schools can be their employees can be overwhelmed with the amount of things they have to do. And we have the ability to take some work off of their plate and still allow the work to get done in a better fashion. So our platform really does allow us to help the school district so that they can do what they do better.
It's only when you understand what your client's issues are is that you can build a great product. And the fact that our team, when we used to go to conferences, we were all about being upfront with our communication directors or the folks that we met at the district. It was not about sitting behind a table, but it was about engaging with our friends, really. It was about learning about what their challenges are day to day, that they not just deal with flyers. That's the last thing that's on their mind, right? What are their priorities? It's like communications, crisis communication, getting those newsletters out. So there's a lot going on in their world.
Without Peachjar, you're thinking, okay, what am I going to do with my child after school this summer? What are the programs that I'm going to have them enrolled in? And you start looking on the internet at this, that, and the other. But with Peachjar, it's a one-stop shop. You go to the school's flyer board, you see all the opportunities, and it's like your place to go. This is where I can sign my child up for great opportunities.
And that's really what we're all about, is how do we capture all the greatness in the community and give that to the school district to allow the parents to access that. And that's how I believe we could really change the world.
My role at Peachjar is to kind of find these organizations who are looking to reach parents nationwide. So I'm always looking for organizations that I do think have the opportunity to grow their brand, their business, and reach parents nationwide. So recently got in contact with a nonprofit actually who gets parents in touch with other parents, and when their kids have a learning disability or some sort of other problems that they want to connect with other parents or other resources with. So they're going to utilize Peachjar to reach out to parents nationwide and let them know that, if your child is dyslexic or has ADHD or has some other learning disability that they're working through, that there are resources out there, and there's also other parents out there who are dealing with it as well. So it's going to connect all of those resources and all those parents in a kind of a central location, and they're utilizing Peachjar to get the word out about their different programs. So
before Peachjar, you really could only do paper flyers locally. It wasn't feasible to send paper flyers nationally because the platform is a national platform and it ties all the school districts together into one platform. It creates new opportunities for program providers.
Right. Prior to that, they're just paying for advertising. They're not getting to go through the school system, that trusted source, to be able to get their word out about their program. And they're just as quality as the local organizations, you know, we've come to learn. So it's very heartwarming.
Yeah, that's a really great example, because a lot of times a national resource like that might not be known by a parent with,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
ADHD issues, for example.
Sure.
And now all of a sudden, now that they find this national help.
They're not alone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really,
That's what excites me the most is, like, you know, having been here that long, it used to just be about what we thought was a simple after school program. You know, it's just, this is soccer, this is little league, or everything has its own compartment. But now that we're getting into SEL, and like, there's so many important resources out there that fly under the radar. And as parents, we don't know what they are. And I just, that to me is heartwarming, is encouraging, is just like everything we've dreamed of right here. So I'm super excited about that for the future.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you think about, you know, the evolution of where we're at today compared to where we started, you know, I mean, it started back with paper flyers, and anybody could ask, you know, are paper flyers going to be a viable thing forever? Probably not forever. Are electronic flyers going to be a viable thing forever? Probably not forever. So we're constantly evolving. We're constantly looking ahead 5 and 10 years, and our product is in line with that future growth. So we've talked a lot about kind of where we've been, and
Some great stories.
yeah, some really funny stories. But you know, the final question is probably on everyone's mind, which is, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And it's going to be exciting. We have huge plans. What you've seen happen so far, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's all about the kids. It's all about the children. We want to make parents' lives easier. We want to make program providers successful. We want to make school districts' lives easier too. So just wait, it's coming.